In this lesson, we're going to try a challenge, just like we did for pages 14 and 15 in the Alfred book, all in one, level one. So what we did is on those pages, 14 and 15, for the right hand, for the treble clef, we played through numbers 4 through 8, all in a row without stopping. We're going to do the same thing now for this C3 5-finger position. And before we do that, let's just review each individual line so that we know what we're playing. So number 4 at the bottom of page 18 is all stepwise motion proceeding from C3 up through G3 and back down. The fingering is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it sounds like this. Ready? And. Number 5 are all skips. 5, 3, and 1, C, E, and G in different permutations. Number 5 sounds like this. Ready? And. Number six are all skips, just between two letters, two pitches, D and F. Finger number 4 for D, finger number 2 for F. Number 6 sounds like this. Ready? And. Number 7 has two lines, which all have the same pattern, either up a skip, down a step, up a skip, and so on, or the reverse, which is starting on G, down a skip, up a step, down a skip, up a step, down a skip, and of course back up. So I'm going to play number 7, each line separately. So here's line number 1 of 7. Ready? And. Here's line number 2 for number 7. Ready? And. In fact, just for further practice, let's do number 7 without any breaks. Lines number 1 and 2, all in a row. Ready? And. Okay, and finally number 8, just a series of unisons and stepwise ascents. Ready? And. Okay, so now that we've gone through each one of those exercises separately, let's try doing this all in a row without any breaks. Okay, so let's do it twice. The first time we're going to do it sort of at a moderate tempo, a moderate pace, and then the second time we're going to try faster. So here we go. Number 4 through number 8, no breaks, straight through. 1, 2, ready, and. review this as many times as needed so that you can play each line separately well, and then of course try the whole thing. Let's do it a second time if you're up for the challenge of playing this slightly faster. 1, 2, ready, and. Course, on your own time, you're welcome to try this much faster, much slower. You can use a metronome, which is a device that essentially is kind of like a click track, but it can be mechanical, it can be digital, it can be an app. It just clicks away, just like I'm doing here with my hand, at different tempos, or tempi if you want to use the Italian plural. So make sure you practice this in a number of ways, kind of reviewing what I've spoken about in previous lessons. You can try simply playing it, just like I did now. You can try playing it and speaking the letters or the numbers, right? So for example, I don't know, randomly, number 6, you can go D, F, D, F, F, D, or of course the fingering, 4, 2, 4, 2. You can sing instead of just speaking if you're more musically inclined, if you feel comfortable matching your sung pitch to the keys, the pitches that you're playing on the keyboard. And you can try that for the entire series. In fact, you know what? Let me risk it. Let me try it myself. So I'm going to start with number 4 all the way through number 8, and I'm going to sing the letters. Okay? Or maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll sing the letters and switch randomly to numbers with every new exercise. I'll just decide. You'll follow along. So 1, 2, ready, and. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, D, F, D, F, F, D, D, F, D, F, D. 5, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, G, E, F, D, E, C, E, D, F, E, G, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, G, G. Almost random, right? I was just basically just alternating from singing letters to singing numbers, except at the end when I stuck with those letters, just to break the pattern a bit. But these are things that you can try on your own and you can experiment. The important thing about singing, why add any kind of speaking and especially any kind of singing as you're playing these basic exercises at the piano? When you sing, just like when you speak, you have to breathe. When you breathe, it is hard to get out of control, right? You don't want to start hyperventilating as you're singing. So if you are trying to match what you're playing to what you're singing, then you end up applying the same breath control techniques that you use when singing to playing, which means that you won't rush. It means that your fingers will, as it were, breathe as they progress from one note to the next. In other words, you'll just be more in control of your playing. So it's always a good idea to sing when you're learning how to play an instrument, a non-vocal instrument, where possible. Obviously, this won't work if you're playing a flute or a trumpet, you know, the woodwind or the brass instruments, because you're blowing into them. But for something like the piano or the guitar, or maybe even some of the viol instruments like the violin, viola, cello, etc., it's a good idea to try to sing just to learn how to control your your physical playing according to those same concepts of breath control when you're singing accurately and without rushing. So we'll move forward to page 20 in the next lesson.